Did you know that over 21% of U.S. grocery items are now out of stock on any given week? That's more than double the normal rate. We're not just talking about a few missing items, we're talking aisles wiped clean, prices climbing daily, and no guarantee that what you need will be there tomorrow. What if you walked into your local store and there was no rice, no oil, no canned meat, just cold shelves and empty bins? It's already happening in parts of the country, and it's not slowing down. Hey, it's Leo, and in this video, we're breaking down 12 critical items you'll wish you had stocked up on before the next food crisis hits. This isn't panic talk, it's practical, because when shortages hit hard, and they will, the people who prepare now are the ones who sleep better later. Stick around till the end, because item number 9, most folks forget it, but without it your food stash might be useless. Let's get into it. Item 1. You think you've got food covered until you run out of carbs. Rice, oats, barley, even quinoa. They're the unsung heroes that stretch meals and keep everyone fed. But here's the catch. Climate chaos, export bans, and dwindling supplies are tightening the noose around rice availability. For instance, U.S. long-grain rice production for 2025-26 was recently downgraded by USDA by about 4%, to roughly 25 million hundredweight owing to smaller planted areas and shifting weather patterns. And it's not just our fields feeling the pressure. Global markets are volatile too. U.S. rice exports have dropped 21% year-to-date in the 2024-25 marketing cycle, compared to last season. That means less rice is leaving the country, and what's left could cost you more. Imagine this. You stroll into your local Walmart expecting to grab a family-size bag of rice and boom, prices have doubled or the shelves are empty. I won't botch a price. USDA data doesn't track that exact local number, but we've all seen staples go from a steal on sale to gut-punch groceries. So here's the urgency. Rice isn't just food, it's comfort, stability, the backbone of your weekly meal. And when the cost goes up or worse, supply disappears, it hits you in the gut. If you don't warehouse a little now, you'll be scrambling later. What would you do if rice suddenly cost as much as steak? Item 2. You know, cooking oil isn't just a kitchen staple, it's the unsung hero of every meal. You can't fry eggs, bake muffins, or even just saute onions without it. Yet most of us just keep 1 or 2 bottles in the pantry. And here's the kicker. Those stocks could vanish faster than you think. Here's what's going on. Global vegetable oil ending stocks are dropping for the 2024-25 marketing year. USDA data shows they'll fall to around 25.2. Meanwhile, prices are spiking, like sunflower oil, which is up over 45% from a year ago. Closer to home, U.S. soybean oil is being gobbled up by biofuels. The USDA forecasts that in 2025-26 more than half of U.S. soybean oil production will go straight into fuel, not your fryer. That squeeze isn't making grocery shelves any more reliable. So what happens when that happens? Imagine realizing you only have 1 bottle of vegetable oil when egg salad sandwiches and pancake breakfasts are the only meals left on your menu. Or worse, you can't fry something to keep the morale high for the kids during a long stretch without fresh groceries. Here's what I do. Grab oils that last longer, think coconut oil or even storable lard tucked in the freezer. They stay usable for ages, and during a shortage, they'll be what brings flavor and sanity back into your kitchen. Stay prepared, stay stocked, and keep those meals and your peace of mind flowing. Item 3. You know, there's a reason canned meats like tuna, chicken, Spam, Vienna sausages are called protein powerhouses. They're shelf-stable, affordable, and packed with calories that fuel families during tough times. Right now, demand is soaring. Just last year, Reuters reported that demand for canned meat among low-income Americans is on fire, as many shoppers tighten belts and turn to cheaper, high-protein comfort food. This isn't abstract, this is happening. Think back to Hurricane Ida. People weren't lining up for sirloin steak, they stood in lines for canned chili and Vienna sausages. That's real life, right? When fresh meat vanishes or becomes too pricey, like a 10% spike this year compared to last, based on USDA price trends, these little cans become lifeline. Here's the logic. Fresh meat needs refrigeration, and often comes with a heavy price tag that jumps when supply chains wobble. But canned meat, it's ready to eat, it lasts for years, and it's often overlooked until you're desperate. So here's a human moment. Picture that overwhelmed mom or grandpa, facing empty freezers and grocery shelves. and then opening the pantry to a stash of canned proteins. It's comfort. It's security. It's peace of mind. Stock up now and rotate them into your meals. Use them, replace them, never let them get stale. You'll thank yourself when everything else disappears. Item 4. Let me ask you, when was the last time powdered milk flew off the shelves? It actually happened during lockdowns. And now it's starting again. Here's the scoop. By late 2024, U.S. milk production was already down about 0.4 to 0% year over year. That sounds small, but it means millions fewer gallons hitting the market. We're still riding that downward slope. Think of it like this. Your family runs out of fresh milk. What do? Coffee, baking, breakfast cereal, it all suffers. Powdered and shelf-stable dairy isn't just an extra, it's a lifeline when the fridge's contents vanish faster than your free time. Here's a real human moment. Imagine being in line at the store with your kiddo, who wants cereal and realizing the only milk left is powdered. It's not ideal, but it works. That's why this should concern you, especially if you've got little ones. A stable, usable backup keeps mornings calm, even when supply chains are shaky. And remember, not hoarding, this is about resilience, prepping for when a simple shortage becomes a long haul. Families who stashed a few extra can breathe easier when fresh milk's scarce. So don't sleep on powdered or shelf-stable dairy. In the next crunch, it could mean the difference between a scramble and a quiet breakfast. Item 5. You know what's quietly powerful in your pantry? They pack fiber, protein, and staying power. If you store them right, they can literally outlast you. FEMA actually recommends canned beans as a key pantry staple in emergencies. Simple, nutrient-dense, and long-lasting. And get this. According to the USDA's 2025 Vegetables and Pulses Outlook, per-person availability of dry beans jumped nearly 30% last year to about 7 pounds per person. That tells me demand's already rising. But here's where things get real. Community stories hit hardest. A prepper in Texas told me how, after a brutal freeze, neighbors were literally wrestling over the last cans of kidney beans. No joke, and it wasn't just about food. It was hope, comfort, and security all wrapped up in that can. So here's the smart move. Keep both canned beans for fast, no-heat meals, and dried beans for long-term peace of mind. Store dried beans in airtight jars, clean, dry, and cool, and you're looking at years of secure, hearty meals. Ever think beans could become a luxury item? It's closer than you think. Item 6. You know that pinch of salt you toss into your soup every night? That little jar might just be one of the most powerful tools in your pantry, especially when disaster strikes. Salt isn't just flavor, it's a survival staple. The University of Georgia's extension puts salt right alongside beans and wheat as a bulk staple with near unlimited shelf life. Seriously, you could survive for years on small daily amounts of these basics. That means, while other foods spoil, salt stays solid. Long after fresh produce runs out, you've still got the power to preserve, season, and sustain basic meals. But here's the catch. When emergencies hit, salt vanishes fast, and spices, they don't survive either. Without them, suddenly your rice and beans taste like, well, just rice and beans. That's a real morale killer. Remember how bland food can crush your spirit when you're already stressed. I talked to families who weathered last summer's heat wave. All their canned soups were gone, but those with extra salt and a stash of spices still had tasty hot meals. Survivors don't just survive, they remember what comfort tastes like. So here's what you do. Stock up on plain iodized salt. It helps with preserving and staying hydrated. And throw in a few spices, black pepper, garlic powder, chili flakes. Keep them accessible, and don't forget to test a pinch every few months to keep your instincts sharp. Imagine rationing your spices. Tasteless survival is real, and tasteless is terrifying. Item 7. Alright, let's talk protein, and not just any protein, but the kind that doesn't need refrigeration. Shelf-stable options like jerky, freeze-dried meats, and yes, peanut butter can be absolute lifesavers in a crisis. First up, FEMA and disaster preparedness guides consistently list high-energy foods such as peanut butter, granola bars, and trail mix as essentials for emergency kit. That's because peanut butter is calorie-dense, packed with healthy fats and protein, and stays safe for months, even up to 9 months in the pantry if unopened. Once opened, keep it in the fridge and it can last another few months. Great for breakfast, sandwiches, or even just a spoon when you need a quick mood lift. Now jerky and freeze-dried meats, Real survival goal. Commercial jerky can sit in your pantry for up to a year, thanks to its low moisture and curing salts, and freeze-dried meat can last decades, 15 to 30 years if properly sealed. That's peace of mind wrapped in a pouch. I heard from a family in Oklahoma when round-the-clock storms knocked out power and mail delivery, everyone else ran out of fresh meat fast, but those who'd tucked away jerry-rigged bags of freeze-dried chicken and a few jars of peanut butter were still feeding bellies and spirits. So keep a mixed jars of peanut butter for fast, comforting calories, jerky for portable protein on the go, and at least a couple freeze-dried meals in your pantry for the long haul. When canned meat runs out, what will keep you strong? This is the answer. Item 8. Alright, now let's talk about something simple yet essential: pasta, and not just plain noodles, but pasta with sauce. Plain pasta is a survival staple. The USDA lists dried pasta as having about a 2-year shelf life unopened, which helps it stay safe and usable when fresh food disappears. And in 2024, dried pasta took up over 71% of the pasta market, proving just how affordable and widespread it is for most Americans. Market research showed a 17% year-over-year jump in pasta and rice consumption, fueled by pantry stocking and a growing awareness of long-term scarcity. That's a signal. This isn't just a dinner night backup, it's a lifeline in disguise. Here's the reality. Cooked plain pasta is fine in a pinch, but without sauce or seasoning, meals start tasting like cardboard. I spoke with a couple in Michigan who faced a week-long freeze last year. They ran out of fresh ingredients quickly, but thanks to shelf-stable marinara and tomato paste, their cold pasta still felt like something, not just survival food. So here's the smart move. Stock up on a variety of pasta shapes, and keep a few jars of sauce or cans of tomato paste handy. It stretches meals, boosts morale, and keeps those surviving off what we have days from feeling bleak. Pasta alone fills the stomach, but what fills the soul? Keep the sauce ready. Item 9. If there's one thing people panic over during emergencies, it's not just food, it's that perfect cup of comfort coffee or tea. And that jittery lifeline could get shockingly scarce. Did you catch what's happening? In February 2025, wholesale Arabica coffee prices hit a record $4.30 a pound, roughly double from this time last year, and ground roast coffee averaged $7.25 a pound, the highest ever recorded. Tack on tars, climate fallout and shipping delays, and your morning ritual may suddenly vanish or break the bank. Even FEMA and emergency prep experts include instant coffee and tea bags in their comfort food kits, because in a crisis, a warm cup of whatever makes you feel normal does more than hydrate. Picture this: the power's out, tension's high, and you've got cold food and cold nerves, but that simple packet of instant coffee gives you a moment of peace, a boost to keep going. So here's the smart play: stock up on shelf-stable coffee instant packets, freeze-dried, whatever, rotate them so nothing goes stale. When everything else fails, that warm cup could be your anchor. A luxury item? Maybe not if you're scrambling for comfort when the world turns upside down. Item 10. Let's talk about real sustenance, the kind that keeps your body and spirit fed when fresh produce is unavailable. I'm talking about canned fruits and vegetables. When crisis hits, trucks slow, markets shutter, and the only green or sweet stuff you might find are in cans. And that matters not just for health but sanity. Canned produce is loaded with essential nutrients and vitamins, and it lasts for years if stored properly. That makes it a quiet hero in your pantry. I've heard stories when hurricanes or severe storms strike, fresh produce disappears first, but folks who have canned spinach, carrots, corn, or fruit cocktails still got some color, sweetness, and nutrition on the table. Something that taste-wise and feel-wise makes a world of difference. The best move: stock low-sodium canned veggies and canned fruits in juice, not syrup, to balance health and variety. Rotate them regularly, but not too fast. They're your nutritional safety net when nothing else works. When fresh veggies vanish, will you be left hungry? Open a can and thrive instead. Item 11. Hands down. Baking essentials like flour, yeast, baking soda. They're more than ingredients. In a food crunch, they're your best chance at homemade bread, pancakes, cookies, even a morale boost. I dug into the USDA's 2025 outlook, and milk prices aren't the only thing wobbling. With dairy supply tightening, bread, something everyone leans on, is suddenly under threat. Imagine no more fresh buns, no biscuits. That emptiness kicks in fast. Here's the thing. Flour can last up to 6 to 8 months in your pantry, and yeast when frozen keeps its rise for even longer. U.S. extension sources confirm this for emergency planning. That means when grocery shelves go bare, you're still in control of your meal. This isn't theory. After a massive snowstorm hit the Midwest, a northern Iowa family told me the only thing left on shelves were basics, like flour and yeast. Everyone else had to get creative. But those who already had baking staples could bake fresh bread, a comfort in those frozen, helpless hours. So here's the play. Keep your flour sealed tight. Stash yeast in the freezer, and don't forget baking powder or soda to round out the mix. You're not just storing food, you're storing normalcy. What if fresh bread vanishes? Your pantry could still rise to the occasion. Item 112. Think water secondary to food in a crisis. Think again, without clean water, food preparation, hygiene, even survival are at risk. Portable water purification tools, filters, tablets, drops, are staples in FEMA and CDC emergency kits for a big reason. Disasters can strike fast, and so can water contamination. Clean, safe water isn't a luxury, it's essential for cooking, cleaning, staying healthy. Take purification tablets. Brands like Potable Aqua and Catadine MicroPure are battle-tested, easy to use, compact, with long shelf life. A single tablet can treat a liter in under 30, and in many cases that's the only difference between getting dehydrated or staying alive. I heard from a family in Louisiana who rode out historic flooding. Panicked shoppers grabbed every bottle of water, but those with purification tabs and a basic pump filter still drank worry-free. No lines, no desperate runs. Just calm, safe hydration. So do yourself a favor. Pack a filter, 2 to 3 tubes of purification tablets, and know how to use them before disaster hits. You can survive without canned goods. You can't survive without water. Make sure it's safe.